Well, last time we started this, the recording was a little goofy, so I can't tell if it started yet. I think it did. But anyway, second annual. That's our second live YouTube. So we are just doing a quick video. I shouldn't say quick because I don't know how long it's going to take. We'll go through. I did some preparation this time, so I got some notes just on some issues that we had over the past week and questions that we had come in over the past week from estimates. And it all kind of geared around how to hire a contractor. So I went back. We used to have a podcast. It was more fun than anything else. I didn't really do anything, but it was kind of fun doing it. But we actually had a podcast, the Paint and Paper podcast. You can still find it on Apple Music. It was on Google. That went away. So we've been debating on maybe bringing them back and reintroducing them just to our website and put them on there just for more entertainment value than anything else. But we had two guests on there. One of them, Greg Lux. He is, I'll call it an executive for lack of a better word, but he does a lot of work with the Wallpaper Installers Association. He works for MDC just here in Glenview Heights, just outside of Chicago. But he really is a technical person when it comes to wallpaper. Anything with wallpaper, that guy is a genius. The other person we had on was Tom Reber. So anyone that's in the contracting business with painting, within the PCA, you may have heard of Tom Reber before. He's been a fun person just in general. I used to actually work for him as a sales guy back in the day when he was in Chicago with Jalapeno Painting. So it's been fun keeping up with him, keeping tabs, and he was on our podcast. And the theme was hiring contractors. So I did one podcast with Greg on hiring a wallpaper contractor and did another one with Tom on just hiring painting contractors. So I thought it'd be fun and good values to bring those two things here together, kind of how to hire someone, whether it's wallpaper or painting, because there's similarities and differences. But for one live for this thing, I think it'd be a really good thing just to kind of go over. And the problem came from two job sites. One, we bid, we did not get the job. Two, we were awarded the job coming in after the fact. So I was just going to go through kind of some of the bullet points that Greg and Tom went over, and then kind of share some of the stories or some of the issues we had kind of in the mix. I'm sorry, still getting over this cough, and kind of see where we're at. So first, again, we have Greg Lux. So was a union installer here in Chicago. Now, again, he's a technical director for MDC. So when things go sideways on job sites, whether it's a union shop, even us small installers, him and his team are really good people to use, because sometimes the wallpaper installer and wallpaper manufacturer and their technical department are not easy to get a hold of, if you can get a hold of them at all. So his biggest takeaway when we did the podcast was experience and preparation matter more than anything else. So probably the number one complaint is bubbles in wallpaper. So people complain about, I got bubbles in wallpaper. Well, there's a lot of reasons why bubbles happen in wallpaper. Preparing for them, getting rid of them, different skill sets, different preparation, different tools. But it all comes down to 90% of wallpaper installation is prep. 90% of failure is because of bad prep. So what kind of wall is it going on? Is it going on drywall? Is it going on concrete? Is it going on plaster? Knowing what the paper is being installed on is one of the biggest things to get ready to succeed and have that wallpaper last for its intended lifespan. Some of them are a couple years. Some of them are disposable, like peel and sticks. Those old fat heads that were around for a while, they're meant to go up. They're meant to come down. Conventions have a lot of temporary wallpaper stuff. Sports arenas have a lot of temporary wallpaper type things that get put up. They're meant to go up, but they're meant to come down. So we always tell customers, as we're preparing for wallpaper, our number one goal is not to make sure that it goes up and it looks great, which that's the outcome. But the number one goal is that when you're tired of it, it comes off the wall. That's the most important, because who wants to put wallpaper on the wall? It looks great. And if you talk to your parents, or depending on your age bracket, most of the time it comes down to parents, where wallpaper was installed in the mid 80s and sometimes late 70s. They put wallpaper on bare drywall. It's never coming off, or if it did, it took the wall off with it. Well, we don't want that to happen. We want to have a great experience. So if you want to tackle wallpaper removal yourself, or you want to hire us or another contractor to come in and pull it off, you know, a little bit of steam, a little bit of water, it should come off the wall. That's our intent, that it goes up, it looks perfect, but it comes off that wall. So that's where prep really matters. We get into a lot of issues commercially where people will talk about, we're just going to install wallpaper or wallpaper. With paper, technically you can do that, and we have done it when issues like I mentioned before, where it was put up wrong, it's never coming off the wall. So we verify it's not coming off the wall. We get it wet. Is it going to bubble? Is it not going to bubble? And to even go a step further, I learned this one from Joel Babb with Cutting Edge Painting here in, I think he's in Algonquin now. So bin primer. Bin primer is a solvent. It's very, very watery. It penetrates really, really well, but it stinks. So you better have a respirator and you better have open windows when you're using it. But we use that bin primer over a wallpaper that's been put up. If that wallpaper is solid and secure, nothing happens. Primer goes on, nice, smooth finish. However, you put that primer on wallpaper where it's failing or the drywall is failing, it takes a minute, sometimes less. You put that primer on there and all of a sudden, bloop, you get a big bubble. And it's not everywhere, a couple bubbles. We did a house in Barrington with him, and that's where I learned how to do that. And it was really interesting because you get like sometimes on the seams was the biggest issue, but sometimes in the middle you just get a pop. And once you cut that out, there was a nail pop there. So that primer was getting in there, weakest point came forward, caused that bubble. So you want to know not only what walls you're using, how's it going to come off, do you have wallpaper on there, but now you need to know what's on the wall. Drywall itself, usually you don't have issues with the type of paint that's on there until we get down to like Chicago area, older buildings. Some of them old plaster walls, people use oil-based paint on there. That makes a big difference when we're installing wallpaper, because the wallpaper paste has to dry, it has to adhere to something. So the oil-based primer sometimes is a problem with that. So now we have to put a new primer over that, or prep that for another, like a lining paper or something else that wallpaper is going to stick. If you're looking for a wallpaper installer, like Greg, Wallpaper Installers Wallpaper Installers Association, you can just Google that. And it's a list of nationwide contractors. Not everyone's in it. Yes, it's a membership. Yes, you have to join. They do require some things to be a member of that. But it's nice because they have ongoing training. They have a convention once a year. Here in Chicago, they have a local chapter that's pretty robust with installers. You can go kind of talk with, show what you're doing, what you need help with. Better yet, you can even call them. And they have just been an abundant resource. I know for me personally, in our business, it's really helped us as we progress in helping other people. Locally, however, you may not find anyone at the WIA. Chicagoland area, we're one of, I don't know, probably 25. We don't serve every suburb, but the ones we do, we're there. But you may want to find someone else, might be cheaper. Availability is a big thing. Actually, cheaper and availability, probably the two biggest things once you get into wallpaper installers. We encourage people not only do a Google search, but call your local paint store or wallpaper store. So in the Chicagoland area, J.C. Licht or Sherwin-Williams, they know the contractors that are buying materials from those stores. And they have to warranty materials being sold to those contractors. So they have a vested interest to make sure that whoever they're recommending is doing a good job. When you're buying wallpaper, we always tell people buy from one of those two places or a reputable online business. York Wallpaper, Spoonflower, Murals Your Way, Wallpaper Direct has been pretty good. I know I'm missing a couple other ones, some of the national brands. Stick with the national brand. Don't stay away from Etsy. I can't even tell you how many problems we've had with people that buy from Etsy or Amazon. You don't know where the paper's coming from. You don't know if they have any kind of experience with what you're buying. So Stick to the name brands and you'll be good. A couple red flags. Greg brought these up, and I thought these were really good red flags as you're looking for a wallpaper installer. Don't worry about primer. We don't need for that. You always need to prime for that. If it hasn't been primed already, you got to prime. What's the difference in the backings, woven, non-woven? They should know what kind of paper they're putting on. They can't tell you what kind of primer to use because just last week we were on a job site and they used a very technical special primer, and it was called RX935. It's an older primer, RX35, sorry. Now it's called 935. And that primer is meant for really difficult situations. For example, we used it as we were wallpapering over mirrors and over glass. It sticks to glass, and when you put the paper, it's hard to tell when it's dry because when you put the primer on there and you go to touch it, it feels like the back of a sticky, like a Post-it note or not masking tape, but tape. It's got a real sticky feel to it after it's dry, and that's meant to bond. So it's meant to not be removable. So like for a mirror, I don't want that wallpaper to come off. We did a commercial paper over mirror because it was so expensive to take mirrors off. We just put commercial paper over the wall. They didn't care. The room that was in was no big deal, but that stuff's not coming off. So putting that primer on a wall and then you're putting a traditional paper, it just is a recipe for failure because now you can't move the wallpaper. You can't lift it up. You can't reposition it. It's never coming off that wall. So you're making sure they know what kind of primer they should use. And then they give you an estimate. They don't ask any questions. So when we're given estimates for wallpaper, I need the room sizes. I need the type of paper that you're installing. Those are the two things I need right out of the gate because we are given an estimate based off how many pieces that has to put on. If it's going to be in a powder room that's got all kinds of cabinets, toilet, vanity, all the stuff, it takes a long time to do. That little powder room could take me just as long, or our installers could take just as long as a dining room. So it's really important to know where the paper's going, what's in the room. Pictures help, and then the paper itself. I made this mistake already this year. Anthony was out doing an install, and I didn't do my homework. I took the type of paper. I thought we'd installed it before. I should have looked at it because it was a different spelling than the one we've done before. The result was the paper was really delicate, really fragile. It was kind of crappy paper. We committed to it, so it kind of had to stick to it. Anthony did a good job, but instead of taking 8 hours, it took 18 hours to install. Part of the seams wouldn't lay down. The black paper and had white on the edges, so it was really hard to see that. Really hard to see when you're trying to seam those, just the way that it was cut. The paper was actually kind of cut like this. It wasn't a flat cut, so you saw the white, which is really aggravating. So now you got to take a colored pencil, color in those seams. And then it just didn't matter what we did. It just wanted to bubble, bubble, bubble. So it was a good thing we had some extra. We tested it. Ended up, we had to get the paper wet, let it soak. Then we glued it, let it soak. But it took, it was about 20 minutes per piece just to get it wet and get adhesive on there, book it, put it in a plastic bag, let it relax fully, let all the adhesive and moisture get in so it fully expanded to where it was going to be. Because otherwise those bubbles and creases, it was because that paper keep wanting to expand. So it just wasn't good. End result was perfect, but getting there was a little bit trickier than what it should have been had I done my homework. So if someone just tells you, oh, we'll install your wallpaper for $400, well, do they know what they're getting into? Do they know what kind of paper it's going to do? How tall is it? Is there obstacles? Type of paste, type of primer, it all matters. The other stuff, Tom Reber, he gets into, goes both ways. You can get into this with painting, but with wallpaper, we always tell people experience, how long they've been doing it, are they insured for it? So if you make a mistake on the paper, who's paying for that? Some of it we're self-insured, some of it we have regular insurance for, so we put the paper up there. If there's something wrong, if we don't, we cover if we make a mistake. So we're going to fix it, but sometimes it's an insurance deal where it's got to get turned over because there was a defect somewhere along the way. So we want to make sure that you're taken care of and you have the best results possible. Last thing we want is you to regret us being in there. So Tom Reber, if you've ever listened to that guy, I really enjoy listening to him. ultramarine, hardcore marine, and he brings that into the contracting trade. So if you're making a mistake, don't expect to be handheld through that. He's going to call you out pretty hard and let you know exactly what you did wrong. So kind of old school. I appreciate that. Some people don't, but it's really good to listen to. So his big thing is, what separates the pros from posers. I always like that line. So again, he used to be a painter here in Chicago. Was in Denver for a while, and I think now he's in Nashville, if I remember. But he coaches painters nationwide. He has his own the Contractor fight. He's been in the PCA. He has his own live events that paint contractors come to, and so his thing is to help contractors stop being wimps about business, which it just fits his personality. It's really funny. And so his thing is a contractor fight. The fight isn't with homeowners; it's with contractors who don't take their business seriously, or they don't take it seriously. So he takes that into all he does. It is a business. It's a way we earn money, and if we take our business seriously, how is a homeowner going to take a contractor seriously? So most contractors, they're not making enough money. Good ones charge more because they have to, but the people that just not charge enough money, and at the end of the day, they almost work for nothing. On painting, on a good day, it's like 5%, 6% profit. So there's contractors that'll have a $10,000 job, and at the end of the day, they got $500 in their pocket. It's not a good way to run a business. The cheapest price. So the cheapest price usually means there's no systems in place, there's no insurance, no background checks, no follow-ups. So we know we're not the cheapest contractor. We know we're not the most expensive, but we're not far from it. But we have systems in place. We have the software to do the paint estimates that are accurate. Our website is to make it completely transparent and as easy as possible. So if you go to our website, there's links everywhere for instant pricing page. You can go on there. We're still learning. It's still evolving. However, it's pretty stinking close. We had 2 jobs this week, 2 customers this week that resulted in 2 jobs. Their biggest thing was, I was really surprised on the fact that you had a pricing page. It was a little calculator. We typed in our square footage, and we had an idea what it was going to cost. We showed up to the house. Both of them were for paint. Yeah, both of them were for painting. Both of them, we were within $150 of what they put in that pricing calculator. I'll take that win all day long. We want to be transparent. We call ourselves the CarMax of the painting industry here in Chicago. I want to make sure that you completely understand what you're getting into and what it's going to cost. If you're thinking it's going to cost $100 to paint a bathroom, we are not your contractor. It's going to cost you $100 just in paint. So knowing what things cost is a huge deal. From COVID to now, paint has doubled. An average gallon of paint for us is about $55 a gallon. And then you get into the specialty paints, and you're at $100 to $150 a gallon. It's kind of crazy how much paint has cost. But you have to take that into account. And paint's gone up. Well, so is rollers, so is tape, so is plastic, so is drops, so is cleaning all that material, so is insurance. All that stuff comes into play of cost of what it takes to do that job. We explain our process. So that's one of the Tom's thing. They explain the process, not the price. I'm more not concerned. I want to make sure you're comfortable in every aspect of what we do and how we do it. The process of how we paint, it's on the estimates. Some people don't like a 6-page estimate, but I want to be, again, transparent, building trust with you. You can see the videos like here. You can see our blog posts. I point out as cleanly and as efficiently can on those estimates. This is the process that we're doing for ABCD. We want you to know and make sure. And so if you're comparing 2 different estimates, this is what we're doing. This is what they're doing. It's got to be clean. I want to make sure that everything's aligned because it matters on price. New trim, for example, putting in new trim, just putting paint on there is a lot different than painting new trim the right way. Masking the floor, masking the walls if you're not painting them, all that stuff being caulked in, all those holes being filled, but after filled, it's sanded and making sure there's no little dimples in there. And then filling it again, sanding it, putting primer on it, make sure it looks as perfect as possible. It's a lot different than I'm just putting paint on there. And I don't care if there's cracks. I don't care if there's nail holes. The appearance is different. Price is different. Everything about it is completely different. we want to know what you're looking for. When do you want to get it done? We're working on a couple. Our specialty has started to turn into helping people paint their homes before they move in. We have a lot of crews, and I shouldn't say a lot, but we have a decent amount of crews. They're all 2 to 3 man crews. So when we have 5 or 6 crews working, it's a lot easier for us to, what's the word? Stage? No. Get people going. I'm trying to play. You get that many people between Daphne, our office manager, and Chad, our production manager, and then myself. You got 3 people in the office kind of working together to make sure we can get all those people, paint orders, everything working together so it can get scheduled when you need to be scheduled. We've come in an hour after closing, and we're painting right away. So that way, before the moving company comes in, your house is getting painted. The paperwork checklist. So we have not only the estimate, but our guys have work orders. You can get a copy of the work order if you want. You can see exactly what they do. It spells out, making sure everything's getting done. But on the estimate, it's clear paperwork. It gives you the list of everything that we're doing. We get called to task if we forgot something. And if we forgot something, we should be called to task on it. We expect it to. But we're not looking for a micro, magnifying glass. We have guys that know what they're doing. We have Chad, who checks in on jobs every day to make sure the job's getting done according to how we quoted it. And then returning calls. We still struggle with that. Solo, it was really hard to return calls when you're working in the field, especially hanging wallpaper. When I'm hanging wallpaper or I'm doing digital graphics, which I do once in a while, I'm just telling you right now, don't expect me to answer the phone while doing that. You need concentration to make sure that's getting done the right way. So if some of our guys are installing wallpaper, we tell them don't answer the phone, put it outside, don't have distractions unless you're on break. But we have Chad, myself, Daphne in the office. We moved to a couple different phone systems now. So now we're, I think, open phone. I think it's Opus phone. I don't know what to call it. Open phone, but I think it's Opus now. So it's nice because it helps you get to the right place. You call, one for whoever. I hate them stupid things. I hate calling and dealing with that. However, it gets you to the right place quicker, and it gives you allows you to leave a message to the person you need to leave a message to. We haven't gotten to the point where we have a full-time receptionist. Someday, we're probably maybe a year away from that if we keep trending the way we're doing. So at some point, I'd love to have that live receptionist, even after hours, which would mean some kind of VA type thing, but love to make that happen. But we want to make sure we answer your phone calls, answer your questions. That being said, we average about 10 to 15 estimates a week, and then we still have those customers every week. So we do get a lot of phone calls in a given day. I can't guarantee I'm going to answer every phone. I can't guarantee Daphne's going to answer every phone, but we really do our best to answer it as quickly as possible. And then the other thing we do is pre-job walkthroughs, which a lot of companies don't. One of our biggest competitors here in the area, they sell the job, they give the paperwork to the painter shows up, and the painter has to walk with the homeowner to verify everything's getting done. We do not do that. We've actually switched a couple different ways, and now I'm doing it where when I do the estimate, or after the job is sold, I come to the house, I do a complete walkthrough with a video on the phone, and I'm walking through everything that we're doing, take that video, we post it, we put it in our Slack channel for that customer's job. So that way, Chad, the project manager, before he gets there, he knows what's getting done. Having the paperwork is nice. Seeing it is a completely different ballgame. And our crews know what to expect. So they can see that, oh my gosh, it's a 20 by 20 vaulted ceiling. I'm going to need the bigger draw cloths, and I'm going to need the gorilla ladder, and I may need a 13-foot step ladder. So they know exactly what tools to bring now that we're doing those videos. But even when we do those videos, Chad is still coming, our project manager, to do a pre-job walkthrough with you. He calls about a week beforehand, verifies the scope of work to make sure I didn't miss anything or our sales guy don't miss anything. The other part is we're also going to come in with our work order, just going through, checking everything. Day of, again, they're recording everything, going through to make sure everything is clear. They know what's going to happen. So Tom's, his big red flags, which I thought was kind of funny. His flags were always, hey, we'll be there tomorrow. If we can be there tomorrow, it's because I'm calling you, hey, we had a cancellation, I can get over there tomorrow. Text me your address. I do ask for text messages. But just to text me your address to come over, it's kind of, I don't know. I like talking to people. Because usually go along with that, I'll just figure out what we're going to do when we get there, which I want clear understanding of what's going to happen. We have our emergency stuff happen in our house all the time, but they still give you something in writing as to what they're going to do. I'll just write it up on a piece of paper. I'm not a big fan of that either. Tom has a couple great quotes. You're not paying for time, you're paying for an experience. And we say that with our guys. How are we creating a five-star experience? Because at the end of the day, it's what we want. We want a great experience. We want an experience so great that you cannot not tell other people about your experience with us. That's what we want, and that's our goal for every single job that we do, no matter how big, no matter how small. Who do you want painting your daughter's room? Do you want a guy that's charging $8 an hour, or do you want a guy that's a professional that cares about how the furniture is getting moved, the jewelry is getting covered, shoes are being taken care of, stuff is moved, stuff is protected, and you don't know that we're there outside from the new paint that's in your house. So there's other couple things, price versus value. So both Greg and Tom both kind of price value. Again, who do you want painting in there? One of the things that both of them talk about quite a bit, and even if you get into other contracting coaches, would you rather pay $100 for 4 hours or $40 an hour for 8 hours? It's the same price, but it's not the same result. Someone's taking their time, someone that's rushing. We do performance pay, so guys are getting paid based on the job. So there's a little bit, the hourly mentality. If you go to, sorry, Menards, I see it Menards more than any place else. You go to Menards parking lot, and over those, they have the garages where the cart's at. I have never pulled into a Menards parking lot and not seen at least one employee on their phone in that cart pretending to be working on those shopping carts. It's every single time. I love Menards, so sorry. I love going to that store. It's one of my favorite stores to go to now, especially for home improvement stuff. They have everything I need, and they have amazing experts. However, every time I go there, I'm telling you right now, every time I go, I see it, so I laugh almost every single time. The $100 an hour company always has trained people. They always have better equipment. They always have better materials. They always have better insurance. They always have systems, processes that are guaranteed to work. Efficiency is value. It's value for you, and it's value for everyone else. If someone can be there 8 hours and they should be getting done in 4, do you want them there for 8 hours? I don't want them for 8 hours. I want a guy that's come fix my water heater. I'm going to pay for it. I want a guy that's come to fix the water heater, or a water softener is a better example. I want the guy to come fix the softener when it's not working, so we have the water, take a shower to drink, so it's not nasty. They're in there for 10 minutes. Yeah, I paid $200, but they came in, they knew which piece to use. They went to the truck, they got it, they were in, they're out. Now I have the rest of my day. I kind of want that for you guys with painting too. We may be there all day, but if we don't need to be, then we won't. The cheapest bid means the cheapest materials, the cheapest primers, the least amount of coats. What's included is the number one question you should be asking. It should be on the estimate. Everything that we do, it's on the estimate. Your estimates should be the same exact thing. What's included, what's not? Are there any hidden costs? Is there anything I may have to be worried about later? Read their paperwork test. When I was working with Tom, he had this thing when he was with his paint contractor. So it was a kind of a challenge of how people read all the things in their contract. So he had a line in there. When you read this line, call and text me right away with the number 100. If you do, I'll give you a $100 bill. No one ever called us. I think he said it was 7 years. 7 years he did that. No one ever called him out on that, which I think is hilarious. And then we call it human side of hiring. Home improvement is about painting and papering. It's about people and, again, the experience. So we look for people that best align with what our values are, people that we want in our home, people that we want to work with, because it's easy for me to say Jose is great, Jesus is awesome, Anthony is amazing. I love bragging on our employees. We hope you love bragging on our employees when you leave us those 5-star reviews. Customers need to be honest. You have to trust a contractor. If you don't trust a contractor, what are you doing with that? We want your feedback. If we do something wrong, I want to know. If we can improve it, I want to know. If there's something along the way that you have seen from another contractor, another whatever that you really enjoyed that we can make part of our process, let us know. We want to know. We always talk about background checks. Subcontractor or employee, we're taking their driver's license and we're turning it in. We want to know what their background is. Avoid, we call them the Stands in the vans. So sorry if your name is Stan. So Chuck in a truck. Sorry if your name is Truck. No website, no presence anywhere else. They have their truck. They show up. They do their thing. But if you need to get a hold of them, I don't know if you can get a hold of them again. You need to know if you're getting that communication, that you have access to multiple people. So between our phones and our texts, emails, we have multiple people you can get a hold of. There's times that we do fail on that. Guys late and don't call, they get distracted. So it happens. We just don't want that to be the norm. We want it to be the exception. Great story. Mark Helmrich used to work with us. If you guys remember him, we were looking to hire some painters and we had a guy come in. Everything seemed great. Really nice guy, knew what he was doing. Had one of those Mercedes vans, loaded. I mean, it was meticulous. His truck was meticulous. And he just came from a job site. We were so impressed. He left and Mark was like, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know. There's something. And so he just took it upon himself. He did a quick Google search with the guy's name. He did a Google search. First thing that popped up is not sex offender, sex something. He had restraining orders and registered sex offender. He was a registered sex offender. And so next thing was his name popped up on Facebook. And when we looked at his Facebook page, he had hundreds of people that had him in his house. Did they know he was that? I don't know. He took offense to it, which I don't know. I understand it's crappy, but you have to understand. You have something that's an issue with us. I can't send you to a house that's right next to a grade school. I can't send you in a house with little kids. I can't be a part of that. I mean, one of our non-for-profit, Daphne's non-for-profit, her and her daughters, Camp Cedar, it's helping people that have been sexually abused and molested. So that's one of our core things, is helping people with that. So, and plus you didn't even tell me. So, if there's an issue and you were trying to work through it, okay, great. But I mean, to completely try and hide it is just not acceptable. But there's a lot of people out there and a lot of companies out there that they're not doing any checks. So know who you're getting in your house. Just kind of everything kind of coming in. All of our work, what makes DeFranco different than some other contractors that we've seen. There's other contractors, AA Painting in St. Charles. Oh my gosh, they're great. Our standards are, all of our guys are vetted and we do background checks. We do pre-screening. They do work at our house, at our shop, someplace controlled before we put them in anyone's homes. Well, I want to know how they work, everything about them. So we want to make sure they get oversight before we just let them go. Free color consultations. Any job over $1,500, you're getting a free color consultation for free. We have 2 designers that are freelance, plus Sherwin-Williams. We get so many per month with them. And it's completely free to you. They come out to your house and they find what color is going to look for you to take the stress out of it. My saying is, I don't pick it, I stick it. I'm not good at picking colors. If the whole world was gray in my house, I'd be great. Daphne loves color. So we're completely different on ends. We don't care what color you're picking, but we want you to love the color that you're picking. We want you to love the house you're in, love the space you're in. That's what we want for you. Free touch-ups. We're coming back for touch-ups. It's great for people moving in. We'll paint the house. After you've moved everything in, we're going to come back a couple weeks later and we'll do those free touch-ups for you. That way, if there's any nicks and dings from the movers, that's taken care of. Give 200, give 200, get 200. So that's our referral program. Some people take advantage of it. Some people don't. It's okay either way. But, we come to your house. I'm going to give you a coupon for a Give 200 coupon. If you know somebody that needs an estimate, they're getting $200 off their project. And because of that referral, you're getting $200 off your project. I'd rather pay you than pay Google. We only use, I'll say the best, but I'm biased. We're using Sherwin-Williams Benjamin Moore products. That's what we use. If you have a Benjamin Moore color, you're getting Benjamin Moore paint. If you're being Sherwin color, you're getting Sherwin paint for the most part. I'm not trying something different. There's some specialty products that we have to use, in certain cases, but that's the exception, not the norm. And then we're local. So, it's great to have a national franchise, but just because someone can paint Florida doesn't mean they can paint here. We have different climates, different materials. We really don't have stucco in some of the stuff they have down in Florida. Down there, they don't have a ton of aluminum siding, so there's different substrates to paint for that people need to know how to work. Fixing woodpecker holes, that's not a thing everywhere in the country, but around here, cedar siding and woodpeckers, oh my gosh, they're such a pain in the butt. If you have cedar siding, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's tricky to fix those things, and you have to fix them the right way. You want to make sure using the right coatings to make sure that the woodpeckers aren't coming back. So I don't know, we're at 30 something minutes. So just a quick, it doesn't matter, wallpaper, painting, cabinet, wallpaper, painting, inside, outside cabinets. Make sure you're hiring someone that you can trust. They have a great process and they're professionals. You're not paying for minutes on the wall. You're paying for peace of mind for people being in your home. If you've got a project coming up, take a look at our website. There'll be some stuff in the links. After we go live, we'll put the links on there, how you can call. You can check out our YouTube channels. We appreciate you being here. Comments are great. Love to see how we can help you. If you have things that you want us to talk about, sometime I don't know if I can do it live on a job site. I haven't figured that out. This is the second one we've done, so we're figuring it out. But love to see how we can help you, and we'll talk to you soon. You guys have a great day. God bless.